A man walked into some of the most protected museums in Europe. He looked at the art on the walls, and then he took it home. No guns, no masks, no getaway car waiting outside. Just a jacket, two steady hands, and a calm that most people will never understand. Over 8 years, he stole more than 200 priceless artworks from museums across 6 countries. Total value, 1.4 billion euros. And he never sold a single piece. This is the story of Stéphane Breitwieser, the most prolific art thief in all of recorded history, and the man whose greatest crime was loving art too much. To understand this story, you need to understand a time, the mid-1990s, before smartphones, before digital cameras in every corner of every building, before the world was fully watched. In those years, hundreds of museums across Europe ran on small budgets and old security systems. One guard at the door, a few cameras with blind spots, no real-time inventory tracking. A painting could disappear from a wall and nobody would notice for weeks. This was the world Stéphane Breitwieser grew up in. A quiet world, an unwatched world. And without knowing it, that world had left a door wide open. He was not a career criminal. He had no gang, no network, no criminal record. He was a young man from a small town in Alsace, northeastern France. No money, no real future, but one thing that burned inside him every single day, an obsession with beautiful things. 3 people are at the center of this story. First, Stéphane Breitwieser, born in 1971. By his mid-20s, he was going nowhere, low wages, no direction. But walk him into a museum and he became a different person entirely. He could stand in front of one painting for an hour. He knew Renaissance artists the way other men know sports scores. Charming, well-dressed. In a museum, he looked like he belonged there more than anyone else in the room. That was his weapon. Not a gun, not a disguise, just the appearance of belonging. Second, Anne Catherine Kleinklaus, his girlfriend. Quiet, loyal. She never touched anything inside a museum. She stood near the exit, watched the guards, and waited. She was the lookout, the alibi, the one who asked no questions or not enough of them. She would later tell courts she didn't fully understand what was happening, that their home slowly became more beautiful, more magical, and she told herself it was fine. Whether you believe her is up to you. Third, Mireille Stengel, his mother. She knew what was in her house. She saw the paintings arrive. She never once called the police. She would later make a decision so shocking, so irreversible, that even seasoned investigators couldn't believe it. But that comes later. It began in 1995. Breitwieser and Anne Catherine were visiting a small regional museum in Alsace. An ordinary afternoon, an ordinary room, and then the guard stepped away. The camera angle had a blind spot he had noticed earlier. His hands did not shake. His heart did not race. He lifted a small 16th century painting from the wall, slid it under his coat, walked to the exit, walked through it. Just like that. Done. That night he hung it in his bedroom, poured a glass of wine, sat in front of it, and felt for the first time in years completely at peace. That feeling became a drug. What followed over the next 8 years was patient, methodical, and frighteningly calm. Before every theft, he visited the museum multiple times. He studied guard rotations. He found the camera blind spots. He noted which rooms emptied out on a weekday afternoon. He dressed like a scholar, a researcher, someone with every reason to be there. And when the moment came, he moved, quickly, quietly, without a single mistake. He targeted pieces that moved him personally, not the most famous works, but the ones that spoke to him. 16th and 17th century paintings, gilded silverware, decorative clocks, Renaissance instruments, beautiful enough to take, not famous enough to trigger an international manhunt. He was precise. He was strategic. Over 8 years, France, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Belgium, Denmark, 214 confirmed thefts, 6 countries, 8 years, and every single piece went straight home. To the bedroom, to the shelves, wrapped carefully, documented in his own handwriting dates, museums, dimensions, condition. His mother's house in Alsace, had quietly become one of the greatest private art collections in Europe, worth over 1 billion euros. Hidden behind an ordinary front door. November 30th, 2001. Lucerne, Switzerland. The Richard Wagner Museum. A quiet institution, the kind of place where objects sit on the same shelf for decades without anyone touching them. Breitwieser had visited before. He had his eye on something, a decorative 16th century bugle. Small, beautiful, exactly his taste. He waited for his moment, moved toward the display case, reached out. A guard looked up at exactly the wrong moment. He saw the shape under the coat. He reached for his radio. Swiss police arrived in minutes. Breitwieser was calm, gave his name, answered questions. No panic, no resistance. But when French authorities searched the family home in Alsace, everything changed. Investigators walked through the front door and stopped. Paintings on every wall, objects on every shelf, hundreds of items stacked and wrapped and cataloged, filling the rooms of an ordinary suburban house. One investigator said afterward, "It was like stepping into another world." Art historians were called in. Interpol's stolen art database was cross-referenced. Museums across Europe were contacted, and the picture that emerged was staggering. Some museums confirmed stolen items within hours. Others realized for the very first time that they had been robbed. One had not noticed a missing painting for over 2 years. The scale of it, the duration of it, that was the real shock. The investigation was unlike anything Interpol's art crime unit had seen before. Usually, stolen art is hidden, sold, smuggled, gone. This art was sitting in a house, preserved, labeled, loved. The challenge was not finding the collection. It was identifying it. Historians worked piece by piece. Photographs went to museums in 6 countries. Old inventory records were pulled from storage. And slowly, theft by theft, the full map of what Breitwieser had done came into focus. Then investigators found his notebooks. Every theft recorded in his own hand. Dates, locations, descriptions, condition reports, written with the care of a professional archivist. He had documented everything himself. When questioned, Breitwieser cooperated fully. He confirmed thefts. He explained items investigators couldn't place. He walked them through his own records without hesitation. He felt no guilt. What he felt was pride. "I never saw myself as a thief," he said. "A thief sells. A thief destroys. I preserved them. I loved them. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Technically, he was right. Nothing was sold. Nothing was damaged. Every piece was in perfect condition. But he had stolen from the public, from scholars, from every person who would never get to stand in front of those works and feel something. Was that love, or was it theft? The courts would have to decide. While Breitwieser sat in a Swiss police station, calm, cooperative, almost relieved, his mother was alone at home. Mireille Stengel knew the police had her son. She knew they were coming. She knew exactly what filled every room of that house. And she made a decision. She began destroying the collection. Paintings pulled from frames, fed into the garden waste composter. Works by Lucas Cranach the Elder, a Renaissance master whose paintings sell for tens of millions, gone. Shredded into compost. Decorative objects smashed. Fragments loaded into her car. Driven to the Rhine River. Thrown in. Gilded silverware. Ancient instruments. Objects that had survived 5 centuries of European history destroyed in a single afternoon. Not to protect the art, to protect herself. To destroy the evidence. When investigators returned, the collection was gone. Of 214 documented thefts, fewer than 110 pieces were ever recovered intact. The rest permanently, irreversibly destroyed. Art historians called it one of the greatest acts of cultural destruction in modern history. Not a war, not a fire. One woman, a composter, a river. And to this day, no one knows the full extent of what was lost. Some entries in Breitwieser's notebooks have never been matched to any museum. Objects described in careful detail, with no known origin. No museum has ever come forward to claim them. They existed. He took them. She destroyed them. And the world will never know what they were. The trial opened in Strasbourg in 2005. Breitwieser received 26 months, a sentence that shocked many legal observers. Lenient, they said, for the largest art theft in European history. But French law had no framework for what he had done. No charge exists for stealing out of obsession. No statute measures cultural loss. The law was built for thieves who profit. He had not profited. His mother received 4 years more than her son. The court decided her destruction of evidence was the greater crime. Anne Catherine received a suspended sentence. Breitwieser served his time, was released, wrote a memoir, gave interviews, spoke about the lost paintings with what sounded like genuine grief. Then, in 2019, 18 years later, he was arrested again, caught attempting to steal from a museum in Belgium. Some obsessions do not end. They are only interrupted. And this question remains unanswered, unsettling, open. In his notebooks, there are entries no investigator has ever matched to a theft. Items described precisely, medium, dimensions, period, that no museum has claimed. Did those museums simply never notice? Or is there a second collection, somewhere in Europe, hidden, intact, undiscovered? Breitwieser has never confirmed it, never denied it. He simply smiles. Even today, no one knows the full truth of what he took. And somewhere, behind an ordinary door, there may be walls covered in masterpieces the world has been searching for 30 years. Stéphane Breitwieser did not steal for money. He stole because no museum wall felt like the right home for the things he loved. Whether that makes him a criminal, a collector, or something the law has no name for, only you can decide. But this much is certain. The greatest art heist in European history required no weapons, no team, no plan, just one man who could not stop wanting. If this story made you think like this video, subscribe to FERMI and tell me in the comments, was Stéphane Breitwieser a thief or the greatest art lover who ever lived? I'll see you in the next one.